morning, everyone. Hey, welcome to our Facebook Live. In this short little training Facebook Live, I'm going to talk about one of the most common challenges that everybody in network marketing has, and that is how come I struggle at finding and attracting top leaders. I don't care who you are. I know you have this challenge because I've been around long enough to hear all of the complaints, to do all of that coaching. And so I hope that you guys will join us today. Make sure you tag your friends. Tell them we are on live right now. I'm going to give you the 3 keys to change all of that. 3 keys so that you can begin to find and attract high-level leaders. Got it? All right, so my suggestion is grab something to write with because we are going to talk. Okay, so now that you're ready, you've tagged your friends, you're ready to rock and roll, I want you to look inward and I want you to ask yourself, what is it that you think is the greatest challenge to you not being able to find and sponsor top leaders? So see if you can figure it out. And what I want you to do is just write a quick note. Tell me what you think is your number one issue around being able to do it. In fact, if you want to, you could tell me, is it a challenge for you? I'm sure it is. That's why you're here this morning. But while you're writing that down, for those of you who don't know me, let me tell you, my name is Deb Erickson, and I am a business mindset coach. That means that I'm going to help you get inside your mindset and shift your business. So I work with leaders from around the globe in network marketing, in sales, as entrepreneurs, and basically help them to identify what is it that's getting in their way, that's slowing down their progress, that's stalling them, stopping them, or that's stalling and stopping their team. So if that sounds good to you, let's start talking today about what it is that's getting in your way. You guys got it. You know what it is. All right, so I'm going to give you the good news and the bad news. Here it is. There are 3 big reasons why you are not attracting top leaders into your team at the rate you'd like to bring them in. So here they are. Number 1 is you. That's the bad news, right? It's you. In other words, it is your mindset, your attitude, your belief. Did you know that you are currently projecting exactly who you are into the world? I call it your Ecard. Now, your Ecard is your energy card, right? It's that projection of you putting out into the world. There's actually a part of the brain and a part of everybody else's brain called the reticular activating system. And what it does is it's constantly on the lookout for things that are matches. Your reticular activator is looking for matches. So the E-card you put out into the world is communicating to other people whether or not you are a match to them. So when a 10 walks into the room, right, when somebody that you're like, that's her, that's the one I want. When a 10 walks into the room, right, your E-card is communicating to her reticular activating system to tell her whether you are a match to her. You guys get it? All right, I got to tell you a quick little story. So I was working with a friend of mine, and she was in the real estate business, and it was right before the time that the real estate market hit, back in '08. And so she was in high-end homes. She was selling homes that were $1 million and more. And her business just bottomed out. And she came to me one day and she said, I got to have your help. My mindset's just not in the right place. And I said, tell me what's happening. And she said, nobody's buying and selling high-end homes. I can't find them anywhere. Nobody's buying and selling. Nobody's buying and selling. High-end homes are dead in the water. Nobody's buying and selling. I can't find anyone. I can't find prospects and I can't find sellers. And I said, well, that mindset isn't helping you. And she said, but it's not a mindset. It's the truth. Hear me. So she's arguing that it's true. And I'm saying, I don't really care if it's true. That mindset doesn't help you. She said, I don't understand. I said, okay, let's go work on it. So we went to Starbucks and I was going to draw it all out and show her the reticular activating system on a map and show her how it all works. And so we're standing at the bar, at the coffee bar. And you know how there's 2 registers at Starbucks. So we're at the first one, and at the next register come these 2 women, obviously wealthy, big diamond rings, had this fur coat on. And the first one comes in and says to the second one really loud so that everybody in Starbucks could hear it. She said, I'm so ready to sell my house. I'm so sick of it. It's not big enough for us. We want a much, much bigger house. And I'm listening to the whole thing. I'm thinking, how big a house does she have? She's telling her friends, yeah, it's I don't know, 3-4 million, something like that. But what we're looking for, like a $10 million home. I want to sell ours. I want to buy another one. We live up in the Heights. My ears are like ringing because I'm like, oh, just what my client needs. Well, the amazing thing is, the whole time these women are talking about what they need, my friend is on the other side of me, 3 feet away. And you know what she's talking about? Nobody's buying and selling. Nobody's buying and selling. Nobody's buying and selling. She's talking and whining and ranting about how the whole thing, right, is not working for her. And I'm thinking to myself, does she not hear these people? And the answer is no. She could not hear what was happening literally 3 feet away from her because she was so committed to the fact that the market was down and nobody was buying and selling. You guys get it? I actually got these women's cards and introduced them, but they didn't like her attitude and they didn't use her. You guys remember? So why am I telling you this story? Because I want you to know that the people you are looking to recruit are literally 3 feet away from you, but they're not resonating with you. They're not harmonizing. They're not a match to you because you are so convinced that you can't find anybody, that there's nobody out there that is a top leader that wants to do your business or that would want to work with you. In other words, you are arguing for the fact, and I'm going to use air quotes here, for the fact that you can't find anybody, that nobody's out there, that nobody's committed, that nobody has the money, that nobody does what they say. You are so hooked in to your own lie, you guys get it? To your own truth, that you can't see the person next to you who is dying to get into your business and who's a top player. You guys get it? So the number one reason that you can't find these women or men, depending on who it is you're trying to recruit, is because, number one, you are arguing for the limits in your life. You are arguing for the fact that you can't find them, they're not out there, nobody lives there, or whatever it is that you're arguing for. That's your energy card. That's your E-card. You walk into the room, and I'll tell you what, that person is running the other direction because you don't believe in them. They don't want to hang around. You guys feel it? Have you ever met anybody and immediately you're like, yeah, I don't like that person? And it isn't because you don't have your makeup on, you're not carrying the hottest new bag. It's none of that. It's the fact that the energy that you're putting out in the world, other people are reading, they're picking up. You know, a lot of people say you have 7 seconds or 8 seconds to establish your first experience with someone, right? To have them have their first interpretation of who you are. The truth is it's like a nanosecond. In fact, sometimes energy precedes you. It precedes you. You guys get it? So the number one reason you're not attracting the people you want to attract is that your E-card isn't a match to those people. Now, here's the great news. You can change your E-card like that. In an instant, you can change your E-card. Doesn't take therapy. You don't have to read books. You can change your E-card right here, right now. I'm going to show you how to do that just a little bit later. All right, here's the second reason why you're not attracting the people that you want is that you are literally, you're telling yourself a story that you don't deserve it, that you're not good enough, that you couldn't lead them. You are lying to yourself. You're telling yourself a story about them. And there's something very interesting about what happens when you tell yourself this story. Good morning, everyone. It's good to see you. I have to stop for a second to have a shout out to everybody who's in the book club. It is fabulous to see you guys this morning. I saw you making comments a little bit earlier. Welcome. In fact, this next thing I'm going to talk about has to do with chapter 2. So those of you who are looking into the files in your brain, right? You're looking at how you're interpreting yourself. This is going to be really important, so listen up. All right, so I want you to think for just a minute about the stories you tell yourself. What are you saying? And you've been saying them for a very long time. Very, very long time. You've been saying things like, I'm not good enough. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what to say. She wouldn't want me. She wouldn't want the business. She wouldn't want. So I'm going to show you a really easy way to see where you are with this. So I want you to think about the best recruiter you've ever seen or heard of, right? The best recruiter in the world. And I want you to give that person a score of a 10. 10. They are an incredible recruiter. And now I want you to think about yourself. And I want you to ask yourself, okay, what score would you give you? That one's a 10. What are you? Okay, write it down in the chat box. Tell me what score you're going to give to yourself. And then I'm going to tell you what that score means. But I want you to be honest. What's your score? Okay? And when you think about the kind of recruiter you are, give yourself a score. All right, so now let me tell you what the score means, okay? If you gave yourself a score of 1, 2, or 3, what that means is the story you're telling yourself, which isn't necessarily true, the story you're telling yourself is that you're not good at this. You're not enough. That's the story. Now, I'm going to call that the no zone. So here's what I mean by that. If you give yourself a 1, 2, or 3, you are never going to recruit a 10. Let that sink in for a minute. If you live in the 1, 2, or 3, that's the no zone. It is not happening. I don't care how much training you get. I don't care how many scripts you get. I don't care all the magic words that you learn. You are never, ever, ever going to be a good recruiter if you tell yourself the story that you're a 1, 2, or 3. You're living in the no zone. Now, if you gave yourself, right, a 3, 4, a 5, or excuse me, 4, 5, or 6, 4, 5, or 6, you are living in the maybe zone. You're in the maybe zone. And what that means is that maybe you'll recruit a good one, maybe not. Maybe you'll get lucky, maybe not. It's like a 50-50 roll of the dice. So what happens to you guys is that once in a while you get lucky and you give yourself that. You say, well, I got lucky. I got a good one and it was lucky. And in that moment, you actually devalue your worthiness. What you're literally saying is, I'm not good enough to get that person, but I just stumbled onto him. I just got lucky. And in that devalue, you actually make it harder to recruit another good person because you just took the good thing that you did and you squished it, right? You diminished it. You got to stop that because that's hurting future. So if you gave yourself that 4, 5, or 6, what I'd like you to say is, hey, sometimes I get it right and sometimes I land it and sometimes I don't. And if you're living in the maybe zone, what you got to realize is that, hey, this is just a story you're telling yourself and we can tell a better story. Because I don't know about you, but 50-50 isn't good enough for me. I don't want to live in a 50-50 world, man. I want to nail it. So I want to move up to the 7-8 zone, which is called the better zone. And better simply means that, hey, you are moving in the right direction. And more times than not, you are going to recruit someone significant, someone outstanding, someone that's going to be solid, a solid player. But you're still not in the yes zone. The yes zone is 9 or 10. When you live your life from the yes zone and when you recruit from the yes zone, what happens is that you step into this unstoppable, irresistible nature where people are coming to you, where they are trying to find you and they're hearing about you and they're saying things to you like, I've heard you're amazing. I want to be on your team. Has anybody ever said that? And if not, it's just a matter of time because that's the story you want to practice. You guys get it? So when you end up in the 9 or 10 zone as a recruiter, you are living in the yes zone. You are in that space where people say yes to you and you say yes to yourself. You feel in that? All right. So when you say yes, you see yourself in 9 or 10, things are going to change on who you recruit. Because remember, energy loves to match each other. So when you're a 9 or 10, guess who you're going to recruit? 9s and 10s, right? So let's go back for a minute and say you gave yourself a score of a 5. Now, here's the really scary part about recruiting. The brain, there's a part of the brain that says if I'm going to lead someone, then they have to be lower on the pecking order so I can be the leader. This is like this psychological mumbo jumbo that goes on in women's head. If I'm going to lead, I have to be the best in the pack because they're going to follow the pack leader, right? The pack follows me. So if I'm a 5, they got to be 4s. That's kind of scary. So who will the 4s recruit? 3s. Who would the 3s recruit? You guys get it. What that means is wherever you start, energetically, the energy will probably go down from there. So if you're a 5 and you're recruiting 4s and those 4s recruit 3s, can you see how as the leader, you are the highest functioning person on the team. You have the biggest passion, the biggest energy, the biggest focus, the biggest commitment, the biggest intention, which means you'll be dragging everybody else. Have you ever thought that? Have you ever felt like I'm dragging people? You know, I'm out here, I'm the one working the hardest, and I'm dragging everybody else with me. If that's the energy that you're experiencing, you're dragging people, it means that you recruited down. We got to get you to recruit up. How do you do that? It starts with you elevating your own identity. I see myself, I'm living the yes zone. I see myself as a 9 or 10. Then if you recruit down, you're recruiting 8s. But you know what? If you see yourself as a 10, you have the confidence to recruit up. And that's where the game gets exciting, guys. When you get up every single morning and you decide consciously, I will tell myself a story that puts me in a position of a 10. I see myself a 10. I am 10. And I'm going to go out in the world and I'm going to find people that are a match to me. I'm going to find people who are a match to who I am and how I'm projecting my Ecard in the world. Now I'm going to recruit 9s and 10s on my team. And then I'm going to teach my 9s and 10s how to see themselves as 10s and 11s. And what happens is we are recruiting at least equally competent. But you can also recruit up from there. You guys get it? So if you're having a hard time finding people, I'm going to tell you that number 1, hey, your E-card is not where it needs to be. You need to be living every single day at a 9 or 10. You got it? I am a 10. Exactly, Sarah. That's what you want to do. You want to claim it. You want to own that 10ness. So see yourself as a 10. And then as you get out in the world, you're going to look for other 10s, right? You're going to look for those people that you go, oh, there's a 10, there's a 10, there's a 10. You're not looking at people going, well, she'd be really good at this maybe. Instead, what we're doing is, hey, we are attracting 10s like crazy to us. That's how we change this. I told you I was going to give you 3 reasons why you're not attracting. 1, you've got an E-card, right, that is not a match to 10. Number 2, you are telling yourself a bad story. You're telling yourself you don't deserve it. You can't do it. You can't achieve it. You guys get it? And you're not believing you're enough. You're not seeing yourself as that 10. It's all about you guys. Now, notice I didn't say it's about the script. You should say this, or it's about the products, or it's about your closing skills, or it's about this or about that. I'm here to tell you that you can recruit knowing nothing, nothing about your product. Because truthfully, it's all about you. You know what my closing sales was, or how I would close to the recruit in my first company that I was engaged in? I didn't know. I was recruiting within a couple of days of deciding I was going to join this first company. And here was my pitch. Feel my pitch. I got the room full of the top 10s in my city. The highest level people that I could get my hands on, I had them in a home. And it was like a multi-million-dollar home, right? I was a friend of a friend of a friend who said, I'll host that party for you. So I was in a $1 million home. We invited the top people in the city, right? And I got up there and I said, hey, I've decided I'm going to get engaged in a new adventure. It is going to be extraordinary. I am going to pick 10 people from those of you who are here tonight. I'm going to pick 10 people from those of you who are here tonight, and I'm going to take you to the top of the company. You know me. You know how I roll, right? I always do things in a certain fashion. You want to be a part of this amazing journey. I'm going to take 10. So I'm going to have you apply. And it was a huge investment back then. It was like it was almost $5,000 to get involved. I mean, it was nothing to poke a stick at, right? But it was like, that was the sales pitch. Do you want to come play with me? Do you want to be a part of this? So can you guys kind of see how it wasn't magic words. There was no confusion in my head about what I was going to say and how I was going to say it. All I did was I stepped up to the plate. I owned my 10-ness. I got into my 10 identity. And then I said, want to play? Want to play? Write this down. I want to give you a great little way for you to remember. So I want you to write down, I'm a 10. Write it down. I'm a 10. And I'm looking for 10s. If that's you, let's rendezvous today. Let's connect up today and get you started. Now, this is what you're saying to yourself, not what you're saying to anyone else. You got it? So I'm a 10. I'm looking for 10s. And hey, if that's you, let's rendezvous today. Let's get you started today. Get you hooked up and get you going. I would say that exact phrase to myself over and over and over and over and over again until I felt it. My shoulders were back. My head was up, right? There was a bounce in my step and I'm like, come on, baby. Come on. If you're a 10, you want to play with me because I'm a 10, right? I'm going to take you to the top. We're going to do this thing together. Who wants to play? That energy will change everything as far as who you are attracting and how easily you can convince them to come and play with you. You guys got it? Recruiting and sponsoring is an energy game. It is completely an energy game. So your job is to get your mindset in the right place, to get your heart in the right place, your emotions. You got to tell yourself that story and you got to get out into action every single day from your 10-ness. You ready to be a 10? You ready to play as a 10? I hope you are, guys. I so love spending this time with you. We are going to stay with recruiting one more day, one more week, and next week, we're going to take this even a step further. I want to help you build an extraordinary business. I want you to have an incredible life. It all begins with mindset. I hope you guys will let me be your mindset coach. Thanks so much for playing. Make sure if you love this video that you get it out to your friends. Share it with anybody, everybody. And let's start playing the 10 game together. You guys got it? I want you to be a 10. I'm a 10. I want you to be a 10. I want to attract 10s into our arena. I hope you come play again next week with Ask Deb. We'll see you then, guys. Bye-bye, everybody.